Cobra.
G.I. Joe.
What's up, G.I. Joe fans and movie fans alike? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE, and today we are getting into G.I. Joe. So I'll be talking about every G.I. Joe movie, including Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, which is going to be released in theaters really soon. But yeah, so we're going to start with, the original animated movie that came out in 1987, simply called G.I. Joe the Movie. So I guess to give a little background with me and G.I. Joe. I like G.I. Joe. I enjoy it. I remember watching the animated show sometimes when I was a kid. And I would read a couple of the comic books. And I think I did have some of the action figures too that I would play when I was a kid. Though I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore fan of G.I. Joe. I don't know everything about the characters and the lore and the technology. I do know some stuff here and there. I do know some characters. There's some characters I actually really like, including Duke and Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, Lady J. Probably mainly the main characters that people would know from G.I. Joe. But yeah, as far as everything with the universe of G.I. Joe, I'm not well versed in that. I remember when I was a kid, I think I was around 11. I remember going to Blockbuster, if anyone remembers when Blockbuster was around. But I remember renting the VHS of G.I. Joe, the movie. I think I only saw it that one time when I was a kid. I don't think I revisited it since. But I think, when I was a kid, I think I remember liking it fine. There was some things that kind of confused me that wasn't fully consistent with stuff that I watched from the TV show and some of the comics. But, I was like, it was still an enjoyable time. It's a spectacle movie, You got all of the characters from the show in this movie, and they're up in the stakes with this Cobra Law, reptile people. So I was like, yeah, G.I. Joe, right? I gotta say, this is one of the craziest movies I have ever seen. And, I've seen a lot. There is just so much that they throw at you in this movie. And this is coming from someone that's in the middle, when it comes to the fandom. Like, I'm not a complete casual, but I'm not a complete, hardcore fan. It's just like, this movie left me so confused and just so dumbfounded at what's going on. It feels like you should know a good amount of the lore and, the TV show at least, for you to understand this film. Like, very similar to, how Transformers, the animated movie that came out, not too long before this. It feels like it's capping off a season, like it feels like there's a bunch of stuff that was already established from the shows, and it's just like, okay, it feels like it's just transitioning you into the next season, without, properly, fleshing out characters and, it just establishing new technology and new villains or whatever. Like, very similar to what Transformers the animated movie did. Though I feel like Transformers the animated movie did a better job, bringing new people in better. Like, it wasn't throwing too much at you where you don't understand what's going on. This one is just like, wow. I would say the movie started out really good. Like, it literally starts out with this whole battle sequence around the Statue of Liberty. Like, you have Cobra's troops coming down with parachutes and jetpacks and aircrafts and stuff like that, and then the Joes coming on with jetpacks and stuff, and everyone's shooting each other with the red and blue lasers and stuff, and they have the music going on, Cobra, Cobra, Cobra. And then, yeah, you have the G.I. Joe theme playing, G.I. Joe, real American hero. Like, the opening sequence of this movie was freaking awesome. Like, it almost feels like the movie's backwards. It feels like this is something that should like end a movie, but you know they started with this, and it's like wow, like this is probably one of the coolest sequences I've seen from G.I. Joe. If the movie was just that, I probably would be okay with it. I would probably give it like 2 thumbs up, perfection. But no, the movie keeps going. So this movie is establishing this nation of reptile people called Cobra La. Okay, and apparently these reptile people lived for thousands of years. Okay, why didn't they talk about this in the show at all? Or they don't talk about it in the comics either, but we'll go along with it. And apparently they're the ones that started the Cobra terrorist organization. Even with Cobra Commander, he started out as one of these Cobra Law reptile people, but then he got into like a laboratory accident and it disfigured his face, and that's why he wears the silver face covering, and then he eventually becomes the leader of Cobra. So it's like, okay, sure, that's really stretching it. Like, I think you're just trying to establish new villains just to raise the stakes, and you're not really like sticking with the continuity established with the G.I. Joe universe, but okay, sure. So as far as this, Cobra La, this nation of reptile people that live in the Arctic and it's like a dome underground or whatever, like, I kind of dig that stuff. Like the whole concept of the Cobra La, like, it's neat. I think it's kind of cool having like, these reptile people. I do like their designs. But it's just the fact that this doesn't feel like G.I. Joe. Like, this feels really science fiction. Like, this is like stuff that I would, villains that I would expect from like a superhero comic or a superhero movie. But like in G.I. Joe, no. It's like, at most, G.I. Joe is like a romanticized fantasy world for the military. And it's like the most sci-fi they would do is like, the technology that they have. And then as far as the G.I. Joes, like, we don't really focus that much on the main Joes that's already established. Like you have Duke, you have Roadblock, you have Lady J, Snake Eyes, kind of. Snake Eyes doesn't even do that much in the movie, and Snake Eyes is one of my favorite Joes. As for most people, I assume. But yeah, Snake Eyes don't do jack shit in this movie. Duke, yeah, okay, he has a presence, but it's like you don't really fully follow him. It's like, we're gonna focus on this other dude named Falcon who's related to Duke. And okay, Falcon, I hate Falcon in this movie. Falcon is so bad. He is so unlikable. Like, he doesn't follow orders. Like, he's treating the other Joes like crap. Like, he's being disrespectful. He only cares about flirting with women, and there's literally a scene where he's sexually harassing Jinx, and I'm like, what? Why are we supposed to root for this? I feel like this is another thing that's similar to the Transformers animated movie where they were trying to push Hot Rod as the new main character. He's kind of he doesn't follow the rules and everything, and like he's all arrogant and pompous, but like he had more of a charm. He was more likable, But like Falcon, I just didn't like him in this movie at all. And as far as the other trainees, like they weren't that interesting either. Like Big Lob, he was really annoying. He liked to refer himself in the third person. And then he would call out his action maneuvers like it's a football game. Man, got irritated with him real quick. And then there's Jinx, who had the potential to be an interesting character. I think she's supposed to be related to Snake Eyes in the comics and stuff. She's kind of a ninja in this movie. They don't really elaborate with any of that stuff. You could have gave Snake Eyes more development, but you don't. But whatever. But yeah, she's alright. She has a neat fight scene with the Baroness towards the end, though it's kind of dumb, and she's blindfolding herself because it's trying to be cool, like, oh, she knows how to fight blindfolded, but the fate of the world's at stake. You shouldn't be trying to show off, but whatever. And then they try to do this romance with Falcon towards the end, and I'm like, why? Falcon is a shithead, so I don't give a crap about a romance with him. And then also, are you gonna forget the fact that he sexually harassed you in the beginning? Like, another problem that I have with this movie is that there's so many characters to follow. Like, if you don't know anything about the G.I. Joe lore, you're going to be lost. And even if you do know stuff about the lore, like, it's just like we're shifting the focus so many times in this film between the new characters they want to establish and then the veteran Joes and then even the antagonists. Like, we're shifting focus from, the members of Cobra and then like the members of Cobra Law. It's like we don't know like what's the main, who are we supposed to mainly focus on? Like, who is the main character? It's kind of like the Phantom Menace, where it's like you don't fully understand who you're supposed to follow mainly. So like I said, they're trying to do it with Falcon, but like it's not working. And then it's just like they want to establish this whole new lore. It's really hard to follow. And then as far as the overall like the plan that Cobra Law is trying to do to take over the world, it's like they want to create these sprouts they want to send into the Earth's atmosphere, and then they want to steal this piece of technology called the BET. Okay, it stands for the Broadcast Energy Transmitter, and it's supposed to like send off these EMP waves wherever across the world. So they're going to use that to like enhance the sprouts that they send into the Earth's atmosphere, and it's going to create this dust around the globe, and it's going to turn people into what essentially is lizard people. Dude, that plot is so dumb, so dumb. I mean, is there anything that I liked in this movie? Very little. Like, I mean, the few times we spend with the veteran Joes is cool. I'm always happy to see, Duke and Roadblock and Lady J, Scarlet, I guess. But, they're not given enough screen time, so that's very few and far between. The animations are really good for the most part. I mean, you could tell that they actually tried to put a budget on this film. Like, it actually felt more cinematic than the TV show. So yeah, the animation's really good. Like, the action scenes are entertaining, I guess, even though I couldn't follow everything that was going on. Like, it's some cool firefights, and Cobra Law is unleashing a bunch of like reptile like worms and insects, giant insects and stuff like that. So that's neat, I guess. And I do, like I said, I did like the members of Cobra Law, even though like there's stuff that's not consistent with their development. And I'll say this, even though I did like their designs for the most part, when it comes to some of their costumes, it looks kind of off. Like Serpentor like is wearing this big old cobra costume and has snakes on his neck. Like, that's looked kind of goofy. And then the main leader of Cobra Law, Globulus, he's literally a dude with the big eyeball, and then his bottom torso is like looks like a giant tumor, but it evolves into a snake thing. Like, I mean, there's some interesting concepts with Cobra Law, but there's just some things that I just felt were a little too silly and over the top. Sergeant Slaughter's in this movie, and yeah, he's one of my favorite parts of the film. When Falcon gets demoted and sent to the slaughterhouse, he's sent to train with Sergeant Slaughter, and he puts him in his place, and I really appreciate that. And he has some really kick-ass lines. And me being a wrestling fan, I appreciate seeing Sergeant Slaughter in a G.I. Joe movie. Nice to see a WWE legend. But yeah, just like, there's just so much nonsense going on in this film. It's just hard for me to appreciate the stuff that's actually good. And then you want to talk about the infamous when Serpentor takes one of his snakes and turns it into a staff, and then he stabs Duke in the heart with it, and he was supposed to die from that. But last minute editing, they made it so Duke goes into a coma. What? So the reason for that is, once again, we talk about the Transformers animated movie. They killed Optimus Prime really early on in that film. And they killed other, veteran Autobots in that movie so they can make way for new characters and new toys for the new season that they're about to do. And there was quite a bit of backlash from that. So the last minute, you know, because Duke was supposed to die in this film, but the last minute they decided to do some dubbing to make it seem like Duke survived, and it makes no sense. He got stabbed in the heart. You saw blood. Like, everyone's reacting like he died, and it's like they at the last minute be like, no, he's in a coma. Like, first of all, how do they even know that? Like, what doctor is going to say that they fall into a coma after getting stabbed in the heart? So, like, that was really dumb. And then it's also dumb because, you know, they keep putting in this, you know, this dubbing in there to be like, oh, Duke's okay, he's recovering, he's going to be A-okay, even though everyone is still, in the movie, everyone's still animated and directed like he's not there anymore, that he died, so it doesn't make any sense. And then, yeah, let's talk about the stupid Cobra La chant that they do. Cobra la 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 la. Cobra la 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 la. Cobra la 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 la. That's supposed to strike fear. I highly doubt that. It was goofy when I watched it as a kid, and it's goofy now. So yeah, overall, like, you know, even though I am a G.I. Joe fan, and like there are some vintage G.I. Joe moments in this movie, and yes, you can argue that out of all the other G.I. Joe films after this has the most essence from the source material. But even then, it's just like the story is just so stupid, and like there's so many characters that we're trying to follow, and not everyone gets a good amount of development. And then when they're trying to push like new characters like Falcon, who is completely unlikable, you know, all that stuff just falls flat. And like Cobra La, like even though there's some interesting concepts with that, like there's some stuff that's inconsistent with, you know, the development of Cobra, and then you want to, you know, just bury Cobra Commander in this film. Like they turn him into a snake. You know, it's like they did him dirty in this film, even though you're not supposed to like Cobra Commander, you know, but it's like even I feel bad with what happened to him in this film, because like they just want to make way for Cobra La, and like Cobra feels like an afterthought sometimes. But it's just, there's too much going on. Like, I almost had a headache watching this movie. Like, I don't know if I would show this to people that are trying to get into G.I. Joe. And, you know, like I said, I don't fully know how hardcore G.I. Joe fans feel about this movie, but like I said, it's just too much going on for me to fully enjoy this film. Even if I like the animation, I like the action sequences. So, I'm sorry to say, overall, I will say that G.I. Joe, the movie, is trash. But, you know, that's just me not being a hardcore fan of G.I. Joe. But, you know, I know some stuff about the lore to not be a complete casual. But that's just how I feel. This is not a movie that I want to revisit again. But that's how I feel about G.I. Joe, the movie. What did you guys think? Did you guys love this film? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment below. Let me know. How deep are you into the G.I. Joe mythos? Did that affect your enjoyment of the film? Positive or negative? Let me know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this review. I'm sorry if I was all over the place with this review, but that's how the movie made me feel, all over the place. But so yeah, the next movie I will be talking about is the first live-action G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. So tune in for that. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you G.I. Joe fans, and I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later. Yo, Joe!